Welcome to No Idea Labs. Disclaimer. Do not use this to make a fake ID. 1. It no longer works. I'll get to that later. And 2. More importantly, you'll go to jail. And there, you'll be lonely. Your driver's license number encodes information, namely your last name. First name or first initial gets that. Middle initial, birth year, birthday, and whether or not there's someone else who has all of the exact same information as you and got it first. It's confusing. Now, the first bit, it'll always start, even the new version, with your last initial. So, for my example one, that'd be an R. It's capital. Next, it uses something called Soundex to explain the rest of the name. So, Soundex has been around since, or was patented in 1918, and it was originally designed for filing systems. So that way you could easily understand and find things using just numbers. Always 3 following the actual letter because it's not perfect. The original one used 8 numbers. 1 was for all the vowels, including Y. 2 was B, F, P, V, kind of a B, F, P, V. All very similar sounds. 3 was C, G, K, Q, X, and S, a K or a S sound. 4 was a D, T, D, or T. 5, an L. 6, an M. 7, an N. And 8 was an R. Now, driver's license number uses a slightly modified Soundex with using 6 instead and in completely ignoring vowels as existing. It uses 1 for those same ones, the B, P, V, F sounds. 2 is the same, and once more, similar, same category it had, just a different number. The K, G, K, K, and S sounds. 3 is D and T. 4 is L. 5 is M and N combined. And then 6 is R. Because let's be honest, M5, for 5, you can't hear the difference between an M and an N that clearly. It doesn't matter much. So, for our example of Shelley W. Ryder, it would be R360 for that. T, and then an R, and then you do a 0 if there's nothing. So it's just the T and the R, which means you're not getting a ton out of that number, getting an approximation of the name. Now, after that is the first name and middle initial, or first initial and middle initial, because it is the stupidest system I've ever heard of. What it does is it has this long table of names. I don't know the number, I'll have it here somewhere. Right here, I'll put it. Right here. And so it has that many names. Each number that it has encodes 2 to 4 names. Always 1 male, 1 female, or 2 male, 2 female. Always the same number. So it has like Albert, Alice, Arthur, or Albert and Alice it considers same name. Apparently Alice is the female version of Albert now. Didn't know that. Arthur is apparently the same as Anne, spelled in 4 different ways. Apparently I was wrong in the numbers immediately, right out the gate. Great start to me in my fact checking myself. There's some funny ones, like apparently Donald and Dorothy are the same. Harold and Harriet are the same, but Harry's a completely different name. Harry is so different from Harold, apparently. Don't know why that makes that distinction. But if you don't fall into their list of names, it's then a different number, which there's not a rhyme or a reason to, seemingly, but what it's doing is the names are coded weird. All of these are multiples of 20 because of the middle initial, which I'll get to in a second. They're multiples of 20, which means that they're separated weirdly. So the first gap is, if your middle initial, or your first initial is A, it's a 0. But if it's a B, it's a 60, but then a C is 100. They're different gaps of 20 because there's different amounts of names. A has 2 sets of names, B has apparently only 1. So because of that, you get this really awkward thing. So if you're, well, theoretically for the last name, you can remember Soundex, then double check if you're trying to verify fake IDs. You can't really do that for the first initial and middle initial. You have to remember a bunch of random things and all the other ones that are in there. So much work versus just being like, yeah, sure, I believe you. Then middle initial is encoded in the same 3-digit number. What it is a number between 1 and 19, because of course it is. They could have done 0 to 19 in all fairness. I don't know why they didn't, Because if it ended in 0, then you could just be like, oh, that's an A. And so then you only have to combine some. The ones that are combined are weird to me, because they combine P and Q. I guess Q's uncommon enough that it's like just doesn't matter. And then they put the last 4 letters all on 19. Like, I really, it's so stupid in some of these spots. Now, so for Shelley W. Ryder again, Shelley, I do not believe is encoded anywhere. Really should have verified this first. No, it's not. Mildred is. It's not even a single S name. Who made this? Well, I know who made my number. I know where I got the information from, but I don't know who designed this system. It's really hard to find that information for some reason. Anyway, so, because there's no S name, Shelley obviously is unique. So it gets 780, and then W is one of the last 4 letters that gets shoved onto 19, because the system is kind of stupid, and so you get 799. Alright, makes sense. So now we have those first 7 digits. Really 6 is the first one's a letter, the only letter in the string of numbers. So, there's all that. Now, the next one, simple. Last 2 digits of the birth year. That's it. We went with 1999, or 1997, so just 97. There's nothing going on there special. Now, next one is birthday. This one is interesting because it also encodes sex. Don't know who did that part. So that is a whole fun little, this is math. The math for this is, so you take the birth month and you subtract it by 1. So if you're born in January, apparently you're not born, you don't have a birth month. And then they multiply that by 40. So for her, I went with August. August is 8. So subtract that by 1, you get 7. Multiply that by 40, you get, math, 280? Yeah, 280. Then you add the birthday. I said 11th, so now you have 291. 291. Alright. But if the number encodes sex by adding 500 if it's female. That's it. Don't know why. Once more, there's not actually rhyme or reason to most of this, it's just encoding a bunch of information. And so for her, it would be 791, because 200 plus 500 is 700. Math. And then the last digit is, in this case, a 1, because I'm assuming that someone else has all of the exact information. For this one, that's very uncommon. Ryder's not a common name, Shelley's fairly uncommon, and any middle name starting with W is also fairly uncommon. So, that's unlikely. But, it could happen. Now, there's some urban legends on that last number, being if you've had a DUI. I really don't know where that started. There is no... It just kind of started. But, it's not. It's just encoding whether or not there's someone else with all of the same information as you. Now, that is 0 checksums, but it can, if you put that in plus your actual information, it could double check. So I'll have linked down below my sources, first of all. And second, one guy, Alan DeSmet, he has a program that you can put in your information or a number, or a driver's license number, and double check it. There's different ones. I should say, this information is all for Florida. Was for Florida. It changed. I don't know if you updated that part yet. It changed because the government thought, this makes it too easy to fake an ID. And so now, it's random numbers. Still starting with the last initial, though. And so, I only see downsides in this. Well, I see one upside. It means that if someone sees your driver's license number, they can't verify that it's, or get any private information, though it's just name, birthday, and gender, really. That's not all that great of information, and name's not even the full name. It's first initial and maybe first name if you're really lucky, or really unlucky. Depends on your point of view. The middle initial and sort of your last name. Gets somewhere close. Like, let me see. His source, its assumption is, here's the assumptions. Ritter, reader, writer, rater, writer, writer. It did get it right. But it's, I mean, there's more. Including rooter, like rooters. So really, it's not great. And, like I said, in this case, because the middle initial is W, it could also be X, Y, or Z. Literally X, Y, Z, not, or, you get it. Anyway, so because of that, you're not getting a ton of good information out of that number at all. it'd be hard. If you saw mine, you'd have a hard time even guessing my last name from it. It's got, you get one character, because Soundex doesn't repeat numbers. If you have a D and then a T is the next, even if it's separated by a few vowels, you just ignore it. And so you're never gonna have two numbers back to back. So it's really hard, especially if your name has a bunch of similar sounds, no matter separated by a few vowels, or if your last name's long. If your last name is longer than 3 separate sounds, Soundex can't do anything about that. Well, I guess 4 because first initial. So, there's that. And I should say, it's going away overall. In Florida, I think as of January it went away. I started writing this out in, like, September. And it's June now. July. It's almost August. I have bad time management skills. Anyway, this is No Idea Labs. Expect I'm going to make things. I will have my bio a list of things I want to make. Support me on Ko-Fi if you like this.